Oh, hello. Didn't see you there. This is On the Prowl. And we're on the prowl. I'm Kiran Gollakota here with Kevin Whitaker to discuss the week in sports. It's a big weekend for the men's basketball team, losing to Brown, the same team that tripped them up last year when they were looking for a chance to battle out with Cornell for a league playoff, and a bad loss, and a fairly unexpected one.
Fairly unexpected, yes. Playing on the road, always difficult in the Ivy League. You see a lot of teams. Harvard could not win on the road at Princeton. Penn had some trouble on the road last weekend. So you see a lot of teams get tripped up on the road. It's the conference where every team can play. But yeah, Brown just shot lights out, and Princeton could not recover, could it?
It's been a trend with Princeton basketball being unable to play a full 40 minutes with a solid shooting game, and it's something that's going to come back to haunt them if they can't really get their act together. I mean, at the rate this is going, even if there is an Ivy League victory, a first-round tournament appearance won't be very promising for the Tigers.
Well, no, but this is still a team that's shown ability to play with some good teams and beat some good teams. You have wins at Tulsa, win over Bucknell, win over Harvard, of course, win over Rutgers to begin the season. They've proven they can beat some good teams, but now it looks like they'll have to do it at least once more, because they'll need a victory over Harvard again in order to edge out the Crimson, who also has only one loss right now.
What do you think has been the problem with the men's basketball team? They've made most of these games close when some of them shouldn't have been.
They have made a lot of games close when they shouldn't be. Second half has been a big issue for the Tigers. Sidney Johnson said, head coach Sidney Johnson, after one of the games, getting from the 11-minute mark to the 1-minute mark was his team's biggest trouble. But at Brown, actually, it wasn't so much the case. Princeton made a comeback in sort of that 10-minute range of the second half. Trailed the entire game, came back to lead by one possession there midway through the second half, but just could not hold it. And Brown took the edge and held on for a double-digit win.
But big news for senior forward and co-captain Kareem Maddox, who got named by ESPN's Jay Bilas as one of the most exciting players in the NCAA right now.
Yes, he did. I mean, anyone who's watched Princeton play this year knows they can back up that statement. He's usually good for a couple of dunks a game at Jadwin Gymnasium, a couple of rebounds where you go, I have no idea how he got that ball. He's really broke out the season. It's rare you see players make a big improvement from the junior year to the senior year, but Kareem has certainly done that thus far for the men's basketball team.
He's definitely been a big asset for that team. Moving right along, the women's basketball team, how'd their weekend go?
Very successfully. 2 victories over Yale and Brown at home. Seem to be back on track after a loss at Harvard 2 weeks ago. It derailed their hopes of a second consecutive undefeated season. But they certainly now look in position to be favored to win the league for the second consecutive year. Home game with Harvard looming in 2 weeks seems like their final hurdle. They win. They're now at least a game ahead of everybody in the league. Seem likely to repeat and head to the NCAA tournament again.
And just finishing a few hours ago, men's hockey in a stunning loss to Yale.
Wouldn't really call the loss stunning. Yale is the third-ranked team in the country, right up there at the top of the ECAC hockey. But a very disappointing loss for Princeton, who led 3-0 but allowed a pair of shorthanded goals. Ended up with a 5-4 loss. Princeton, with a win, could have moved into the top 4, earned a home game in the ECAC quarterfinals. As it stands now, they're in 6th place. We'll have to travel on the road for the playoffs.
And a bit of a mixed bag for the men's and women's tennis teams. The men's team up in Harvard for the ECAC championships, getting to the semifinals but losing to Binghamton. A team that has given the Tigers some trouble in the past. And the women's tennis team set to play Yale in their ECAC championships. That's happening right now. And it bodes well for both tennis teams. They should be in strong positions to make runs for both Ivy League titles in the upcoming months, as long as they stay healthy, which has been an issue for the men's team especially. But very, very promising, regardless of the kind of struggles at the very tail end of the tournament.
Indeed, both teams certainly up there, as you mentioned, along with the Ivy favorites. Sticking with the racket sports, Princeton hosted the Hal Cup, the women's national team tournament. Tigers had a successful tournament all in all, avenged a loss against Penn 7-2 in the quarterfinals, couldn't beat top-ranked Yale, but recovered to win the third-place match today against third-ranked Trinity, another team that lost to in the regular season. So, a match Tigers obviously didn't come out on top, but actually pleased with their performance overall.
And that's this week in sports. We'll be back at you next Sunday with another roundup of On the Prowl. And until then, stay classy, Princeton.